everybody, welcome back to another video. Today my immersed setup is finally worthy, in my opinion, for a video. So I started this setup on January, about January 1st this year. So it's been several months since I started this one, and it's been quite an experience. I think if I can do it, everyone can. So I am going to walk you around my experience with this type of setup and how you can reproduce your plants in your house with not much money and not much time spent into them, and get some really nice results. So I have some points that I want to discuss. So the first one is that the growth is obviously faster than underwater because just the environment they evolved to grow faster when they are out of the water because of the seasons. When the tide of the river is low, then the plants are going to creep out of the water in order to get a little bit more light, and they have to do this faster because they don't know when the current is coming back up. At least that's the way that I think that they have evolved. It makes sense to me. If any of you know another reason, you can just leave it down in the comments. Also because of the availability of CO2 in the atmosphere, so they can have all the CO2 that they need to develop and grow. So they grow faster outside of the water. Sometimes if your aquarium is super well established and it's super well taken care of, it may compete with the grow rate. So it's not crazy amounts of faster growth, but in some species like ANUBIAS it really makes a difference because they just get massive and really quick. Once they adapt, they're going to kick up. So the other one is that it's really cheap, a cheap method to grow expensive plants. So maybe your tank can have some ups and downs. Maybe you don't have it completely dialed yet, so maybe the tank can get some algae issues sometimes, or you may forget about the CO2 or whatever the reason may be. Sometimes we all make mistakes, and you don't want to compromise an expensive plant or a really nice plant. You don't want to commit all the way to that environment, and so then you can have like an insurance colony. So when you buy your plants, you get them immersed, and then you let them grow for a bit, and once you have some trimmings that you can do to that plant, you can just cut them and take them out and put them in your tank. And then if something happens to them, whatever the reason, let's hope nothing happens to them, but that comes as a possibility, then you have more of the same genetics and the same plant stored in your immersed setups, and it's really not complicated to keep an immersed setup always looking healthy and always growing good. Even if you go out on vacation or something like that, it's really easy to maintain itself. The last one is that the plants are going to have less coloration, but you still can just take a picture of how it looks and then take a picture of how it looks underwater once the leaves are developed, and you can get the comparison for the same species, so you can identify them either immersed or immersed, or you can put some tags or something into it, and that will make your life easier. But it's a common mistake that I do, that I mix the labels, or I take the plants too quickly from the package because of the situation, and I just mislabel them. That in Bucephalandra, for me, it really doesn't matter about the names, as long as I know if it's a small species or medium or large species. Then I can just see if I like it, if I like the taxonomy, if I like the shape and the color, then I will keep it for sure, and don't worry about the names that much. But there are some staples in the hobby that you may want to keep labeled for future sales, or just for your own satisfaction. The next one is that you don't need to add CO2. Well, I've said this before, but yeah, you don't have to add CO2 because the atmosphere will provide whatever CO2 the plant needs. So that's a good one. So you can grow a lot of plants and you don't have to make another expense in CO2. And the other one, you have the option of using no liquid fertilizers, so that's a good one. They are usually pretty expensive, and even if you make them yourself, you may have some elements that you are missing, so you have to buy some things like trace or something like that. If you can find like the chelated trace elements on salts, that it's really complicated to find them, at least in Mexico. If you live in the UK or something like that, I think there's a seller that can provide those elements to you, and you can make your own mixes. I think it's NILOCG or something like that. If you're interested, I will link them down below, because they have really nice products, and I think they can ship them to Mexico, but it just becomes really expensive to just give nutrients to my plants when I can just buy the Sikkim trays. But in this case, with emerged setup, I really don't need to add any liquid ferts, so that's really good. I just dose with Osmocote pellets. This thing right here, I don't know if you can see it or if it will focus, but yeah, they're just tiny pellets. I'm going to show you a close-up of them. They're just tiny pellets, and they are slow release pellets, so they are really good. There is no way to overdose your, well, there is, but it won't blast your plants with a ton of nutrients and then run out. It's going to slowly release it, so it's a really good option for immersed setups, and also for submerged setups. If you have a substrate, you can just plug them into the substrate, and it's working great for my planted tank. And so no liquid ferts, so it's really cheaper to maintain, and these pellets last for 3 or 4 months, so a bag like this is really going to last you a ton of time and a ton of plants. So it's really cheap to grow them, it's cheap to set it up, and it's cheap to keep them alive. So either way, it's just a thing that most hobbyists should have. If you're into plants, then you should have an immersed setup just laying around in your home, wherever, and just keep your plants and your collection going immersed as well. And so the next one is you don't need a filter. Obviously, you are not going to have a ton of water volume. You can even have like an inch of water above. If you're growing anubias or bigger plants, you can completely submerge the rhizome and just leave the leaves outside of the water, and this is going to generate that boost of growth I was telling you about, because they have all the submerged growth in the rhizome, and they are taking the nutrients directly from the water, and then the leaves of the plant they have an unlimited availability of CO2, so that's really good. And if you have that much water, then you can have a circulation pump, but still no filter. If you have less than that volume of water, but there's still like little puddles and stuff, and you are afraid that you might develop mold and your plants may get moldy, or you are scared of organic waste decomposing and generating algae or something like that, you just have to add springtails or some type of isopod. I'm sure most of you are familiar with Serpa Designs, so he always uses this microfauna in his bioactive setups. Well, this is something similar. It's not like as pretty, but it's more like for conservation of a species in captivity, and it's a plant species, so they need to have these microorganisms taking care of everything that the plant will melt, because that's a way of getting new cells to develop and stuff. So they are going to get rid of what they don't need, and they're going to develop new plants and new growth, and these isopods are going to take care of everything. But yeah, isopods, that's your filter. No electricity bill going up or anything. And the next point is that it's just as rewarding as a planted tank. It's just beautiful to watch the plants grow and develop within the months that you are going to be growing them in an immersed setup before you put them in your tank. Or forever, if you like this type of setup, you can do like a wabi kusa style. You can have this container with immersed plants just contained for humidity. And the other thing that's really important is less light. I would still recommend investing in a good light, but it's not mandatory, because you don't have that water barrier for the light to penetrate onto the leaves of the plants. Maybe you have like a glass top and that's it. And if you can get some LEDs that don't get warm at all, you can even find a way to put them under the lid or something like that for super bright setups. But I just do it with a cheap light and then just the tops of the containers, or I put glass on top of the container if I want the most penetration of light. So I'm going to show you a little bit around, and I'm going to get some close-ups from the plants. And I also went to San Francisco a week ago, and I got a shipment from Buceplant. So I got a ton of Bucephalandra. I mislabeled like 7 of these species, but I think I can still like tell a little bit about with the photos of the website and stuff. And I have some of them labeled, so I'm going to show you a little bit about the species that I got. And they are really beautiful. I am really glad I did it. I had to put them in my luggage and just hope for the best, but gladly I was able to pull it off. So I am really happy, because these species in Mexico are not that popular, or they are really expensive or something like that. So either way, I chose the ones that I was most called by, and that I don't have in the collection, or that I had and I lost because of the issues that I was telling you at the beginning of the video. You know, sometimes tanks just don't work out for some reason, or you get lazy or something. Everybody makes mistakes, so some of my plants have died, and that's just a part of learning, and a part of being in the care of live organisms. So yeah, that's going to be it. I'm going to just show you around.